Our standard is standard 6. Students will learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide complex numbers.
And a complex number consists of all sums a plus b, I, where a and b are real numbers, and I is an imaginary number. And an imaginary number I is equal to the square root of -1. Now that we know this, let's go on to our first step of our problem solving. If I equals square root of -1, then -5 plus 3i times 2 minus 6i is equal to, and to solve that, what do we do?
The first step would be to use FOIL. FOIL is an acronym for first, outer, inner, and last. So the first step will be to use the first of FOIL, which will be this first term right here, the other first term right here, and you multiply with each other. So that will give you -10. The other step will be to use the outer, which will be the first term right here, but with the second term of the other equation, which will get you -30i.
The negative times a negative is a positive, so it's a positive
30i. Because then the next step will be inner, which will be the two inner terms in each equation, which will give you 6i. And last but not least will be the last term right here with the other last term, which will be the two last terms. So that will give you minus 18i squared.
Alright, and now that we have what our equation is, we can now solve for what I squared is equal to. And since we know that I is equal to the square root of -1, I squared is going to equal, it's going to equal -1 to 1/2 squared. And the reason we have 1/2 now is because the square root of anything is 1/2. So this is the same thing as this. And so now that we have this, first do power to the power. When you're doing power to the power, you multiply. So now we have I squared equals -1 times 2 over 2. And 2 over 2 you can simplify, so it's now 1. Get rid of that. So the -1 to the 1 power is going to be -1. So now we know I squared is equal to -1. Now that we know that, we can plug it in to I squared. So if we plug in -1 into I squared, we'll get again.
Since this is already -18, a negative times another negative is a positive, another negative is a positive. So instead of -18 I squared, it would just be positive 18.
Right, and now that we have our final step, we just add like terms. So since these two are the i's, we can add those because they're like terms, and we can add these two numbers there. Combine all the like terms, your final solution is going to be -10 plus b, which is positive 8, plus 30i plus 60i, 36i, and that's the final answer.
This is Sparta!